Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone Talks and Doctor Who magazine. As someone said in the chat, is dropping bombs left, right, and center. But here we go. So, yesterday, as I had excitedly told you all on stream, I was going to go in and get this issue of Doctor Who magazine. So, I got up, decided not to have me cup of coffee because I'd go in and have a cup of coffee in the city centre, which is a bus journey, which is about 15-20 minutes by bus. So we got in, no problem. Was actually doing little videos as I was walking down to explain to everybody that I was going to get this magazine. We get into Eason's in Dublin City, which is down the road from the GPO for anybody that wants to know, on O'Connell Street in Dublin City. So that's where I was. Went into Eason's, went over to the shelf where Doctor Who magazine is supposed to be, and there were 3 issues of the previous one. So I'm flicking through, thinking I'll be grand. The new ones are probably at the back, even though they should be at the front now. But I had a look. No joy. So I walk up to the counter. I have to say, I didn't think the lady was pretty nice to me when I asked. She looked at me as if I'd asked her one of the worst questions in the world, and her response was basically, "Well, when I was doing the magazines this morning, I didn't see Doctor Who magazine." Right? So I was like, okay, yeah, all right, yeah. And I was walking out, I murmured to myself, did you have to scream at me like that? Right? So walked out anyway. So I decided to try other comic book stores that were around Dublin City, and every place that I went to, it was, no, we don't have the Doctor Who magazine. So then I checked Forbidden Planet, because Forbidden Planet does Doctor Who merch. So I thought, well, maybe they do the Doctor Who magazine in there. No. Your man actually looked at me again. This reaction when I asked for the Doctor Who magazine in every shop was met with a face, as if to say, how dare you ask us that question? Right? So as of now, I haven't got it. Now, there is someone that lives in Dublin that contacted me on Twitter last night to tell me that there's always a bit of a delay in Ireland getting the magazine. Someone else has also told me that in the UK and Ireland, there's distribution problems right now, but wherever the magazine has dropped, it's sold out. Now, people suggested that I get the digital copy, right? Now, no offense to people that buy the digital copy, but it's not the same to me. I want to hold the magazine physically in my hands, right? I want to be able to read it. But with that said, right, so obviously, as I said, we're going to try get it this weekend. If not, we're going to try all next week because I'm getting that magazine. Either way, I'm getting it. But people have been throwing up stuff on Twitter, and we've got some stuff to actually talk about because some interesting stuff has come out. Now, a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about, you will remember that it was talked about on this channel. We even had guests on this channel that were telling us that things were on the move and there were big plans for Doctor Who. But we're going to start off with, I was going to start somewhere, but I'm going to start off because I want to actually build it up a little bit. But we're going to start off with this. And this is a quote from Emily Cook. Right? Now, if you guys remember, I've been telling you ever since RTD was announced that the decision for RTD to come back had got to do with the Doctor Who lockdown watch-alongs, right? Now, a lot in the fandom, especially the other side, said that I was talking nonsense and, I was only saying these things because I didn't like the current Doctor and the current era of Doctor Who. Well, Emily Cook has confirmed it. So there's definitely, I'm gonna say this. I haven't read the magazine yet, right? But I've seen, as I said, stuff being put up. And I'm going to tell you now, by the sounds of things, they seem to want to distance themselves from the previous era, right? But this is where it all began. So I'm going to share this to you because you're gonna love this. So just let's make it bigger. There we go. Speaking exclusively to Doctor Who magazine, Russell talks about how the conversation begun following a tweet along and watch along of the Runaway Bride. Catherine's surprised reaction on how David said he'd do it in a heartbeat, and Russell saying it was his duty to get it done. It was his duty to get it done. I've been telling you all along that RTD has come back because he wants to make sure that Doctor Who is still on TV. He wants to save the show. We had guests on here who also told us that this was a rescue mission. He's there now saying it. Everything that I told you guys about on this channel today, the RTD and days after and weeks after, is all coming true. I told you all of this, and people in the fandom were saying, oh, Noel's lying. Noel doesn't have credible sources. Noel is telling lies because he doesn't like this era of Doctor Who. This is everything. I told you it was the tweet alongs. This has been absolutely, it's crazy, man. I just look, if I had, obviously, if the channel had a better reputation, maybe people take me seriously. But this is everything that we said. So there you go. I mean, and Emily put up a post to say that she was proud, and she should be, because she's the one that got all of this going. This is why I've never really Emily Cook is the few out of the Doctor Who magazine are part of that whole collection of people that has always managed to ride this. She's been able to navigate her way through the fandom without causing any upset, right? And she went and she did this tweet along because she knew Doctor Who fans were down. Everybody was feeling down. The pandemic was in full swing. We were all locked down. And she thought, what can I do to cheer the fandom up? And then this was all then, put together. So Emily Cook deserves the credit for bringing this forward. It's her doing, whether she likes it or not. Or she's responsible for RTD returning, basically. She hadn't done those tweet alongs, I don't think that RTD would be back in Doctor Who. I think, as they said, their surprise reaction, because remember those tweet alongs did very well, and then people didn't like that they were doing very well, and then a few within the fandom that claimed to be fans, then when certain episodes then were going to be shown, they tried to sabotage them. Right? They sabotaged them, and then it got to the point where Emily then gave up on the watch alongs because it wasn't worth the hassle, all the grief that she was getting. Right? But she gets the credit for this. She absolutely does. As I said, she's been the only one that has navigated her way through this fandom and hasn't upset anybody. She has played it well, and she's being rewarded for it as well. She's being rewarded for it as well. I think she's being promoted now, and she's going to be doing some good things with Doctor Who, and rightly so, because out of them all, she's been the less, as I said, she's navigated her way through, and she's been absolutely fantastic with the fans, and she hasn't got embroiled in controversy at all. The only controversy that she was embroiled in, and had nothing to do with her, was the fact that certain episodes, like obviously we had the Garrett Roberts episode where that caused a bit of uh, reaction. And obviously, Human Nature and Family of Blood, they were giving out about that one as well. Absolutely ridiculous. But overall, it was a success. You had Moffat come back as well, right? A couple of, remember, we got the lockdown stories as well. So, you know, respect to you for sticking to your guns. Well, look, at the end of the day, as I said, you know, I put all of this out, but I've never said it's fact. I've always said, you know, I'm getting it from sources. You know, we even had people on that were in the know that said the same thing. But it's the other side of the fandom that never believe me. So I don't really care, to be quite honest with you. But this, you can all see now, like it's all coming out. Everything that I said is happening. I told you that the truth will come out about this era. The truth, you know, and it's starting to bleed out. And I'm telling you now, there's definitely an effort to distance themselves from the previous regime. Now, obviously, I might have a different take when I do eventually get the fucking magazine. But I will say this, I've refollowed Doctor Who magazine on Twitter. I never thought I'd do that. But I did. But I did send them a tweet to ask about the story about the magazine in Ireland. And no response. So I have to say, whoever's running that account, I'm not trying to cause any issue here, but you know, if fans around the world are having an issue with getting the Doctor Who magazine, the physical copy of the Doctor Who magazine, well, you should be actually letting fans know that there's going to be a delay, you know, and there has to be better communication. If fans are sending you messages on Twitter, well, I didn't send a message, but I tweeted them publicly, obviously. But you should respond, man. People need to know, but I want to buy this magazine. I'm desperate to actually get this magazine because, as I said, I told you guys as well about the interview, right? There's some revealing stuff in that interview. But again, people will read the article and some of the stuff will go over their heads because RTD frames things in a certain way. And within that interview, he's dropping little breadcrumbs. And I think I've already detected a few breadcrumbs already, which I'm going to keep to myself for now until I get the magazine. Because when I do get the magazine, then I'm coming on. And for a couple of hours, I won't be able to read out all paragraphs, you know that, because we'll get into trouble. But we'll read the stuff that's of interest to us. And I'll leave a link for people so they can get the Doctor Who magazine as well to give them a help out. Doctor Who magazine, a help out so they don't get, you know, get a bit. These magazines can be a bit you know, when you read out their articles and stuff. Right, but there's something I want to show you, because again, Chibnall has confirmed this already, right? But I think in the Doctor Who magazine, they've definitely confirmed that this is the case. So Doctor Who's going to finish with the power of the Doctor until RTD stepped in and said he was taken over. But there is a very interesting image, which I think you guys have to see. And this was sent to me by PD Rich, I think. So I want to give credit. But he made the point that this is a completely different setup. And I would have to agree with him on that. So, as you can see there's Jodie Whittaker's TARDIS, right? And there's the setup there on the top picture. But there's David Tennant there. But look at the setup. It's completely different. It's completely different. It's two different, done in two different states, definitely done in two different locations. Right? And it works seamlessly into the episode. But they did not film the regeneration scene together. This was done separately, which adds to the fact that she was going to regenerate. We were going to see the regeneration energy. It panned out and it was going to fade to black. But then in pops RTD and says, oh, I'm here to save Doctor Who. It's a rescue mission. I've got a plan. Yo, David, need you to come back. We need to rescue Doctor Who. You're the most popular new Who Doctor. Are you in? I'm in. But let's bring Catherine Tate back. Blah, blah, blah. Everything falls into the place. There you go. Try 3 local shops, nothing. Now, I will say this. Apparently, in the places that the magazine has been in, it's sold out, right? So, which means if they get their distribution stuff sorted, you know, this could be one of the biggest sellers in the last few years by the sounds of things. Fans are really excited. Even people that like myself, who haven't bought the magazine in years, want to buy it now. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. But anyway, I wanted to show you that because it's very interesting. It's another thing that we said on this channel as well, before everybody else. And, you know, again, for people that were telling me that I was lying about the show being cancelled, I was right. The show was being cancelled, but RTD stepped in. And BBC basically says, all right, well, then there you go. Bad Wolf Studios have it now. I was never lying to anybody. I never had an agenda. This is the thing. The fans on that other side always thought, oh, Noel has an agenda. He doesn't like the era, so he's making up stuff. No, listen, no matter my personal feelings about the show, as I said, right, when it comes to the information that I was getting, I was just putting it out there. I made it very clear that it was rumor and speculation. Take with a pinch of salt, and it wasn't to be taken as fact, because that's the way it was being reported by the other side. I'm all saying this is happening and blah, blah, blah. And saying that I was saying it was a fact when that wasn't the case, right? But now I can actually say it now because obviously it's being confirmed. Anyway, let's stop sharing that, and we'll go to the next one, which I want to show you. So let me see, is it this one? Yeah, this one. Right, we'll start with this one first. So if you were here for the stream a few days back, I told you that Crystal D was back streaming on YouTube, and I was telling you that I think maybe the Doctor Who fan show or something like that may return. And I was saying to people privately on Twitter, and people that are in the private message will remember that I actually said this, but I said to some people that don't be surprised if Ben Cook also makes a return. Well, I'll just show you this. So Ben Cook did the interview with David Tennant for the issue, plus showrunners RTD and Chris Chibnall, and but also the directors, the VFX people as well. So yeah, I think it's gonna happen. I think maybe the Doctor Who fan show may, in some capacity, make a return. Now, in fairness, a lot of fans will say that the Doctor Who fan show was actually quite good. And I would have to agree, because up until I had me run in with her, and before they decided to cancel, I used to watch the Doctor Who fan show like a lot of fans. Now, look, I have no issue with them coming back if they do it differently this time. They can't be calling out fans because fans don't agree with their opinions. You know, they'll have to. You have to conduct yourself slightly better than you did before. People won't necessarily agree with you all the time. It doesn't mean that they're ists and they're phobes and all of this other nonsense that you like to shout out. So, as I said, if they come back and they play it differently, then I have no issue with it. But I have me doubts. This is the thing. But yeah, so she's back. She's back streaming on YouTube, as I told people. And she had Beth from the Time Ladies, or if the Time Ladies even exist now, I don't know. And they were talking Doctor Who as well. So I think they're gonna come back at some point, which will add an extra element to it. You know, because a lot of people will say after the Doctor Who fan show and Confidential and other stuff, you know, the original Time team and stuff, that everything just went downhill after that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. As I said, you know, no problem with them coming back if they play it differently. And by the way, just in case people say, well, why look, I've personally had a run in with the two of them, right? And if I could put that aside so we can support RTD and the show and make sure that it's in a good place, I could put all of that aside, man. But I just hope that they play it differently this time, because we don't need to go back to times where people that are part of Doctor Who in some capacity are coming out calling fans out. People are going to have their opinions. I'm not saying don't call fans out if they're being absolutely being racist or stuff like that. We'll all call that out. But you can't call someone out because they might have worries or might be cautious about the next era. And this is where we need to find the balance. Let's hope this time they find some balance. And that's all I've got to really say on that. You know, there's no point of having a big mad rant and stuff and stuff like this. But this next one, this next one is very interesting, because since RTD's return, and again, if you go back to when we had our guests on, we actually mentioned 4 or 5 specials, right? Now, the media and even RTD himself originally said that there were 3 specials. 3. It turns out that's not the case. No. Again, some revealing stuff in this interview, but it seems like that. Well, I'll just put up the post. And by the way, the person that posts this, whomysterio on Instagram, the links to their social media, their YouTube channel is in the link description. And I want to make that clear because, you know, I have to be careful here because I don't know if I've ever shared a post from this person, so I don't know how they will react. But as I said, once the links are in the link description, which I've done, you can go and check out the social media account and the YouTube channel if you wish to do so. But I want to make clear that the link to the Instagram and the YouTube channel is in the link description. But this is the one that's the most interesting for me, and the one that we're going to discuss a lot. So, I don't know if you can actually see that properly, so I'll read it out. A Doctor Who, RTD has written 4 specials for 2023. All are 60 minutes long. In the latest Doctor Who magazine, Russell T Davies says that he has written 4 specials for Doctor Who so far. And this is the thing that a lot of fans have left out when they've been reporting on this, and even the media, right? He says four Doctor Who four specials for Doctor Who so far. So far. So how many are we actually getting? Now, was again one of the guests on this channel said a David Tennant miniseries. Is that actually going to happen? Are we going to get more than four specials? Now, again, 2023 is being brought into, so here's my prediction. I think RTD is going to carry on the Chris Chibnall tradition of a New Year's Day special. Right? For this one. I think he's going to write more than four. Right? I think what's going to happen is we're going to get to the anniversary, but the anniversary won't be the end of it all. It'll lead to Christmas then, next Christmas. And that's when Shooty then is properly introduced to the fandom as the Doctor. Doctor 15. I definitely think, and I've been saying this and I've been consistent on this, I just feel it in me bones that something's going to happen this year. Well, it'll be technically next year, but I mean January the 1st. I just think like they could show them on consecutive nights in November, or they could start them in November. But you see, even then, right, if they were to start in November, right, it's got 4 episodes written. That's 4 weeks, right? So that covers the whole month of November. So that means even after the anniversary, we'd be getting another episode anyway. And to me, that doesn't make sense. You'd have to be spacing them out. And this is why I think we might get something New Year's Day. And then I think then Christmas is secure then for next year. But he said so far. RTD confirmed he's currently got 10 scripts done, 4 specials and 6 shooty episodes. Yeah, but he said 4 specials so far. Right? Again, if RTD is very clever the way he words things. I just don't know. I just feel something more is coming. But yeah, that could be it anyway. But again, I'll get the magazine as soon as I get my bleeding hands on it. But I mean, if he's got 6 shooty episodes done so far, I mean that's like half a season. And he said so far. So there's we're obviously heading towards either back to the original episode count, or will we get more episodes per season? I don't know. Right, Cinnamon is going to send me a picture. So I'll go into Twitter, get it ready. But I tell you again, some exciting stuff is happening. It's going to be, as I said, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. And he's generating this hype. I mean, you know, we've already had the kind of the whinging and the moaning from the other side. But it seems to, again, today being overshadowed now with all of this stuff that's coming out. And that's good. You know, at the end of the day, we should just focus on the stuff that's coming out and never mind the ones that are still having a hissy fit, because at the end of the day, whether it was like us 5 years ago, the show's going to move on either way, whether we like it or not. And we didn't like it, but they don't like it either. But the bottom line is, it's going to change. You either get on board with it, or if you don't like us, you didn't like the era, but you want to stay loyal to Doctor Who, would have a lot more respect for a lot of you if you actually did that, like what we did. I didn't even like this era, but I watched. Because I was loyal to the brand. Right, let's see. We got this screenshot. So he says, I sit here with 10 scripts in front of me, 4 specials and 6 episodes of the new series so far, with episode 7 blinking away on screen. Force Lion Coffee. Right. So there you go. I'll just throw it up on screen actually very quickly, I suppose, so people can actually see it's legit. So there it is. It's from Cinnamon Toast in the chat. So there you go. It's there in black and white. So I sit here with 10 scripts in front of me, 4 specials and 6 episodes of the new series so far. But he said so far, but again, he says 4 specials and 6 episodes of the series so far, with episode 7 blinking away on screen. Right, fair enough. He's doing episode 7 of the series, but actually, yeah, you would be right. So I think he's finished the specials. So it's 4 specials. So it definitely is. I just think it's a bit, for me personally, I think it's a bit ridiculous to kind of wait. But maybe that's because I'm all excited. And I just want it out on the screen now, like everybody else. But I don't know what's going to happen with this special, but there's going to be lots of surprises. By the way he's talking as well, you can already tell by the way he's talking. I will not be surprised if other doctors return. Now, I know people have said that Peter Capaldi especially has been making quotes and comments and all of this, right? I'm just gonna say, right, in the industry, that absolutely means feck all, right? If the money is right, the script is right, and for Peter, it would be more the script than the money. But if the script was right, there's no doubt. I know he still has a bitter taste in his mouth, but if he was brought in and in a way it redeemed his doctor. Same with Matt Smith. Same with companions. Everything is open. But we'll just have to wait now and see what happens. As I said, when I get the magazine, we'll go into a lot more detail and we'll be able to kind of suss out what he says. But remember, RTD has said himself that he throws out a lot of red herrings. And I can guarantee you there's a lot of red herrings in that interview. Right? There always is. There always is with RTD. It's never just black and white. There's little grey areas when it comes to his interviews. And that's where you find out most of the information that you need. They've auditioned for companions already. Well, we kind of already knew that, but yeah, that's interesting to see now who they will announce as the companion. But interesting. But isn't it interesting that nobody, because like as I said, Chris Chibnall apparently was interviewed for that magazine, but nobody's talking about Chris Chibnall's quotes. It's all RTD. Do you notice that? It's all about RTD in this era. Nobody really cares about what Chibs has had to say. You know? But we will have a look at what he did say when I get the magazine, just to see what crap he comes out with this time. You know? We'll see what happens. It's an exciting time ahead for the show anyway, folks. As I said, it just keeps getting better and better, to be quite honest with you. But it's just very interesting that the amount of bombs that have been dropped, the amount of stuff that we've said on this channel that's actually coming out in that interview as well, and little snippets from other people. It's actually very fascinating. It's very fascinating how once the decision was made, how quickly they've tried to, which looks to me, not distance themselves from the previous era. Even the cover itself, if you look at the cover, it's just a simple cover. There's nothing absolutely outstanding about it. But the thing about it is that with the logo there, right, and the cover, it's just really good. I don't like all of that bleeding art that you were doing in the Doctor Who magazines over the last 5 years. I think there was one. Remember, they start doing dual covers then, right? They start doing dual covers. In Jodie Whittaker's era, Doctor Who, they start doing dual covers so people could pick their own cover. They didn't necessarily have to get a copy of the magazine with Jodie Whittaker on it. They could pick a different cover. No, I don't, because I want to get the magazine, but we will obviously cover more on this as soon as I do get it. But we got I think it might be John in the on Facebook there saying, thanks, Noel, we appreciate your coverage of the new direction. We'll keep tuning in. Thanks very much. I really appreciate that. But look, this is only the start. And again, Doctor Who magazine getting the exclusives the way it should be. The way it should be. That magazine has suffered for 5 years. And yes, there are a couple of staff members that I didn't like because they, you know, they start questioning fans and stuff like that. And I didn't like all of that. But at the end of the day, the magazine's iconic. You know, it suffered along with other other licensees out there. And finally, it's been given an exclusive the way it should be. Even Chibs now, like, has gone into Doctor Who magazine. Normally, he'd go somewhere else with that. Or he wouldn't say anything at all. That's what Doctor Who magazine thrives on. Is those interviews, and then they used to put the old, fan opinion in the magazine and stuff. That's the way it needs to go back. You've got your comic strip as well. You've got all of that going on. And that's the way it should be. A magazine for everybody to read. Not just a certain group or certain age group in the fandom, right? Because then you're taking away from certain readers. It must appeal to all. Anyway, I suspect the fans that harassed and bullied the fandom wouldn't understand the RTD interview anyway, because finally we've got a showrunner who's intelligent, and we're gonna get intelligent stories. No more dumbed down, stupid kid-like stories anymore. I've been watching Series 4, you know, and the stark difference between the eras is mind boggling. Is mind boggling. You know, no scare factor in the previous regime, in the previous era. Scare factor in Series 4, returning companions done right. Just everything about it. Just absolutely fantastic. And within those stories, there's clear messages. You could see the messages, they're there. Anybody denies it. RTD is the master of it though. Right? You're not, while the message is there, it's not in your face. You see, you know what what he's trying to say, but the episode, the characters are so fascinating, and there's stuff going on, and he's been able to do these stories within the Doctor Who universe. That's the difference with Chibs. He tried to insert certain things into the Doctor Who universe, but instead of, as I said, the story being the main focus, the characters, the story arc, it was the message that was more important. So the stories, the character development, that all suffered. It all suffered. Now it's going to be flipped again, because I do believe RTD is not going to change all of a sudden the way he thinks Doctor Who should be written. Right? He hasn't come back, and some people say he did change when he went to America. That's fine. You're absolutely right, he did. But the difference is he knows Doctor Who is different. And if you've read what he's recently said as well on Instagram, with the way he's been talking to fans, and he explained about the whole costume. Now, some people have taken that up as pandering to drag queens and all of this. I don't see that. I see that he was being very sensible in this situation and didn't want the media to use it as they use everything else, the further an agenda. He was being respectful. So there's plenty to be excited about. There definitely is plenty to be excited about. Now all he has to do is deliver. Now all he has to do is deliver, and I do believe he will. I don't think he will change the way he writes Doctor Who. The difference is now he has a budget to do some of those stories that he was never able to do before. And you know what? The fact that he has 10 scripts in front of him, right, and he's working on the 11th one, right? I wouldn't be surprised if the reason why he has so many scripts is that he's probably taken ideas from some old scripts that he couldn't use. Now he can, because he has the budget, and that's made it a lot easier for him to be able to get as many episodes done. But we know how good of a writer he is anyway. It's fascinating to me, man. This whole thing has been the most excited I've been about Doctor Who for a long, long time, and I'm still buzzing, still buzzing. RTD has said that the magazine will be front and center for upcoming news, where it should be, where it should be. And shame on Chris Chibnall for neglecting the magazine for the 5 years that he did. It was only near the end that he decided to give them some breadcrumbs, as if they were some sort of peasants that didn't deserve the exclusives. But RTD loves the magazine. Listen, RTD is a big fan of the magazine, and is a huge supporter of Big Finish and a fan of Big Finish. Those two licensees especially have suffered. And don't be surprised if Big Finish starts kind of changing direction a little bit. Less of the agenda being front and center, more of the story being front and center. It's all got, even Big Finish, you're going to see changes with Big Finish, telling you now. And it's an interesting time, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So yeah, let's bring it on. Let's bring it on and see what happens. But His PR before he took over the one show spoke volumes to me, respectful to everyone under Chibs, which says another about him as a person. Can't wait. Yeah, I mean, he was very respectful. And even when he saw that the announcement of him coming back and stuff was overshadowing, he did try do damage control and did try, tell people. I mean, the fact that he went out to promote the power of the Doctor when Chris Chibnall should have been the man doing that does speak volumes. I agree with you, Raymond. I agree with you. That was Chibnall's job, but he couldn't be arsed. Just like he wasn't arsed about Tasman, just like he wasn't arsed about all of the other stuff that he incorporated into the show and then didn't do anything about it. He never gave a damn. After Series 11, I'm telling you now, I've always said this. After Series 11 didn't go down well because he tried something different, he was like, even after that, well, I don't give a crap anymore. I don't care. So we went back to Detroit and tested. Remember, this is the man that said he didn't like the Daleks, Cybermen, and blah, 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 blah. And they all featured heavily after that, right? He didn't care. He didn't care. When the fans and the public rejected Series 11, he said, toss it. I don't care anymore. And the result is shoddy writing, shoddy character development, and shoddy plot threads all the way then after that. Right? So, people will eventually, and some media have, but again, I think they're hypocrites. But eventually the Chris Chibnall era will be looked at with a fine-tooth comb. And I'm telling you now, it will be criticised. It will be criticised. People will say how bad it actually is, right? Because it is. It's awful. It's awful. He gets credit for trying something. I've always said this. I'll always give him credit for trying something different with Doctor Who, right? But the thing about it is he had the weight of history against him anyway, right? Because he'd made certain decisions even before we saw Series 11, which caused a backlash, right? So, when he came in and then they were talking about all this change and stuff like that, what he didn't realize is, as I said, at that time there were 55 years of history behind him, right? So he comes in, he wants to try something different. 50 years now, even New Who, right? New Who is a different iteration of Doctor Who. It's not like the classic era, we know that. But we've expected Doctor Who, especially New Who now, to go a certain way because of the show since RTD brought it back. So we expect it to go a certain way. You can't upset that. You can't just change that overnight and think fans are going to be accepting of it. Right? And you were never going to be accepting of it. Because there's a certain way that Doctor Who is written, and it must be written that way. Even Moffat, right? Even some of his worst episodes, he still managed to try. And it still did feel like you are watching Doctor Who. Series 11 did not feel like you are watching Doctor Who. It was completely alien. And that's what I'm talking about. There was too many changes made. These changes that you wanted to make have to be made over a couple of years, over a few years, so it feels natural. You don't just force it in and hope that it works. And then when it doesn't work, say, well, it's all right, we're going to replace the fandom with these new fans. But the problem is then is if the writing's not up to scratch, well, even those fans are not going to stick around to watch it, but they will be on social media and on their platforms slagging off us, even though we are watching, right? Because we're supporters of the brand. We still want Doctor Who on TV, so we supported the brand. But these fans are different. They don't think in those terms. You know, they even when it started to go bad, you know, and the ratings were going down, but yet they were telling us that they were watching. They weren't. What they were doing was they were going onto YouTube or they were going on to wherever where fans were posting up clips of the episode of main talking points to them, which was mostly Tasman and all of that other stuff, right? And that's what they would analyze, right? And if you go through Twitter feed and you see the way they spoke about these episodes, they never went into detail about the episode itself. It was whether Yaz looked at the doctor a certain way, or she looked at the Yaz a certain way. It was stuff like that that they were analysing. But when you actually questioned them about the whole episode as a whole, they didn't know what you were talking about because they didn't watch the episode. They didn't watch the episode. That's why the numbers were down. Right? So all of this rubbish about TV habits changing, yeah, it added a couple of 100,000 here and a couple of 100,000 here, maybe, and at the end, it added a couple of million, fair enough, right? But it's still bad if you compare it to Peter Capaldi's last hurrah. It's still really, really bad, right? But they weren't watching. They weren't watching. A lot of them tuned out. They stayed on social media. And another thing you'll notice as well, right? Now, they've stuck around a little bit longer this time, even though the era is over now. They've stuck around because now they have something to complain about because they have a cis white male now playing the 14th Doctor in David Tennant. And they have RTD back, and they think RTD is being disrespectful and all of that, right? But as I said, they don't have a leg to stand on with that argument because the difference with us and them is this. Jodie was okay, we knew her in some other stuff, but to change the gender of the Doctor without hesitation and without it being done tactfully and all of that, and then the interviews that she done, and then Chris Chibnall coming out with all of his nonsense as well. We had legitimate reasons to come out and criticize both of those, right? But you don't have a leg to stand on with this argument with David Tennant and RTD. And the reason why is because RTD ran the show back in 2005 and made it successful. David Tennant then became the 10th Doctor and became one of the most successful New Who Doctors, if not the most successful New Who Doctor. So the fact that you're arguing that those two are back and having the conversations that you have, you don't have a leg to stand on. You don't have a leg to stand on. You are complaining because it didn't go the way that you wanted, right? And even though some of you do support Shooty, deep down it guts you that it's another male Doctor, right? The only reason why you are going to support Shooty now is because of his skin colour, because now you can use that as a weapon then when fans criticise his performance, if they do criticise his performance, right? So you will use that as a weapon, right? And that's why some of you have stuck around, right? But deep down, you all know to validate Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, for you, the perfect scenario was to bring in another female Doctor. But it hasn't happened. So you are in a rock and a hard place now because on one hand, as I said, you aren't supporting Shooty because he's a male Doctor. You support because I've already seen the comments on Twitter. I know what you are doing. It's going to be the same what the media is going to do as well. Use his skin colour as a weapon. And it's disgusting. Just like you use Jodie Whittaker's gender as a weapon. Disgusting. Disgusting. You didn't get what you want, so you're throwing your toys out of the pram, but you won't directly go and say anything about Shooty because you wouldn't dare. But you have already seen now, if you go after RTD or David Tennant, that this fandom on both sides, right? People that did like the Jodie Whittaker era, fans of Jodie Whittaker, the ones that weren't engaging in all of this nonsense that yous were, and fans who weren't fans of this era, right? come together to call you out. And you deserve to be called out. And this time, it's actually legitimate. Whereas when you called us out 5 years ago, or whatever it was now, how long, because it's been took this long to get 3 series and specials done, right? You didn't have any legitimate reasons to call us out. None whatsoever. Because we, as I said, had the weight of history behind us with the show. You can't just change something overnight and expect fans to accept it and the British public to accept it. And they didn't overwhelmingly. Ah, no, that's what I mean. The media is obsessed with it. These fans are obsessed with it, and they'll use it as a weapon as soon as there's a bad episode. Because let's be honest, RTD is not perfect. We'll get episodes where it's not as great as previous episodes. It does happen. It does happen. There's never a perfect series out there. I don't think there is actually. Well, actually, the first series I lost was pretty perfect. Well, you can get a perfect series. I mean, Series 4 is a perfect series for me. Even Series 3, actually, and Series 3 is very underrated, in my opinion. Series 3 is definitely highly underrated. Martha Jones is that whole story thread, Captain Jack and all come about. I'm telling you, man, it's so underrated. But there will be an episode where it won't quite work, right? And there will be genuine criticisms, right? The media will be able to do it, and they're not racist, remember. But as soon as fans start doing it, then these kids and the media will use that as a weapon. And as I said, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Yeah, Serious One's a perfect season as well. I'll agree with you with that on that one as well, Drawden Jack Rabbit. And I forgot to do something there as well now that you're in the chat. So there you go. The reason why we started early is because there's a football match on tonight. So they're starting to play music now. So let's hope I don't get a claim because it's very loud. It's a proper stadium. So I mean, they've got their bleeding music on now. So that's why we decided to go early because, the build up, it's only 20 past 5. The match won't kick off till about bleeding 8 o'clock or something. So there's going to be music. The players are going to be out there training and stuff and all of that. It's ridiculous. But look, as I said, interesting times ahead. We'll see how this pans out. When I do get my hands on the magazine, obviously I'll let you all know and I'll do my little videos again. But I had all these videos done, right? And I was like, oh, this is going to be deadly when I put it all together. And then when I got into Eason's, as I said, and I seen that it wasn't there, and then I checked all the, oh man, I was actually gutted. I was actually gutted. I came home. I was in bad humor. Cheryl could see. She didn't even have to say anything to me. I didn't even say anything either. She just looked at me. She knew I was pissed off, and she just said, "I'm getting out of this room." I just sat there and I plonked my face on the sofa. Um, I just lay there for a couple of minutes, and I was just like, all that effort just to get the magazine, and I didn't get it. Um, But I'll get it. I'll get it, man. I will. I'll find a way, man. I'll find a way. Someone, as I said, someone in Dublin actually contacted me and said it's always a couple of days late in Ireland. So well, it's Friday now, so maybe I'll go in tomorrow or Sunday because it does open for a couple of hours on Sunday, I think. I'm pretty sure it opens on Sunday. If not, it'll be first thing Monday anyway. And I'll have that magazine in me bleeding hand. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you, man. It's look. I've never been this excited. As I said, I actually want to buy the magazine. I've refollowed them on Twitter. As I said, if they give me something to be excited about, and that's all Chris Chibnall had to do. You know, if you had gave us something to be excited about over the past 5 years, you know, I would have supported all of these things. But instead, they try to replace us with a younger viewership who are not really fans of franchises. Um, they're fans of the message of the show, or as I said, if an actor, if they race swap, or if they gender swap, that's what these kids are into now. And then it's the shipping stuff as well. Then which characters can we ship? That's what they're interested in, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. If they just didn't attack other fans because of it. You know, there's been shippers in the fandom for decades. This is nothing new, but these new sort of shippers are very. It's like a cult. It's like a cult. You can't say anything, you know, and you've got these stands as well. You know, you see even with musicians, they've got stands, and you say the wrong thing. I mean, all the stuff about Rihanna supporting Johnny Depp and all the Rihanna stands then annihilated the Amber Simps. It was glorious. It was like you don't touch our queen and all of this. It was a massacre on Twitter. It was just like these stands knew not to mess with these people anymore. And this is the way it'll be in their fandom. I'm telling you, because Shooty has a lot of fans. We've already seen that. We've already seen that David Tennant fans are not going to tolerate any nonsense either, and neither are RTD fans. They're not going to tolerate any of this stupidity anymore. So yeah, it's as I said, we are in for some interesting times ahead. Um, don't forget, guys, if you remove a comment as well in the chat, because we're getting some of these bots that's just infesting YouTube right now. Don't forget to hide them from the channel as well. So not only delete it, but remove them, hide user on channel as well. I've just done it with the last person there. So the last bot. So yeah, don't just delete the comment. Also hide them from the channel. Um, because we don't need that nonsense going up. But yeah, that's YouTube's responsibility. You know, they need to sort it out instead of bleeding trying to deplatform people. They should be sorting out their bots. They have a bot problem on YouTube and they want to bloody fix it. It's getting very serious. But then when they do try fix it, they actually get rid of genuine subscribers as well. Like, so they need a system in place that can identify actual bots, the people that set up a YouTube channel so they can just support another YouTube channel. Anyway, yeah. So look, we'll leave it there anyway. We've got Highway to Hell playing in the background. Jesus Christ. She's her. Highway to Hell. I got to sing it there. Highway to Hell. Shut up. In fairness, it's not Dance Monkey or some other bleeding song that they keep playing. It's at least now they've changed the CDs up. They're actually playing different music each week. But seriously, for about a year, you had Blinding Lights, Dance Monkey, and Oasis Wonderwall. Every night it was always those three songs. Always those three songs. Pain in the arse. Pain in the arse, I tell you. Anyway. We'll leave it there. So, yeah, listen, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel as you always do. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Nice to have you on board. And yeah, as I said, we've got stuff coming up in the next few weeks and months ahead. So Yeah, I'm not going to actually watch the match because I've promised Cheryl I'll watch the second half of The Crown. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So we're going to have rock music playing in the background while I'm trying to watch the Bleeding Crown. But that's what we're going to do. We promised that we'd sit down and watch The Crown together. So that's what we're going to do. So yeah. Also, just for anybody that is interested, if you're a gamer, I might as well just say it on this channel again. So if you're a gamer, FIFA 23 has updated the game. You can now play the FIFA World Cup. Now we did have a plan to get a few gamers together to pick a team, and then we put us in groups and then see how far we all get. But as of now, we've only had one person actually come to me and say, yeah, they'd be willing to do it. Unfortunately, for Daniel, he can't do it because of financial reasons. So we're hoping that maybe FIFA will bleed and drop the game free, because sometimes they do that. But yeah, but that won't be till next year actually, because it's only brand new, isn't it? Really, still. So anyway, but unfortunately, nobody else has come to me. So this will be the plan. This will be the plan. If I don't get any other people to join for it, what I'll do is I will do one. I'll do a FIFA World Cup, and what we'll do is we will get everybody to pick a couple of teams. We'll do a vote on those teams, and whatever vote comes in, whatever gets the highest number of votes, team gets the highest number of votes, will be the team that will be for the FIFA World Cup, and we'll do a FIFA World Cup stream. So yeah, if you're a gamer, you're interested in that. And also, I've got other games like Call of Duty and stuff like this, and I have Injustice 2, the Legendary Edition. So if there's anybody that's picked that up on the PlayStation Store, we can have a couple of games of that as well. If you want, like, we'll do a few gaming streams on the other channel and stuff like that. So yeah, subscribe to the Irish Geek as well if you haven't already. It's the gaming channel, and we'll be back. And we still have to finish our FIFA 23 Manchester United's second season, but it went all wrong, and I just haven't had the motivation to play it, because literally I went from winning 4 trophies in my first season to getting knocked out of the Champions League, getting knocked out of the League Cup. I get knocked out. No, I think I won the League Cup, got knocked out of the FA Cup. I got knocked out of the Champions League after winning the first leg 9 something, because the game was broken as usual, but it's still fun to play. But we got knocked out of the Champions League, so I'm fighting for the league, and I'm in 4th place or something, or 3rd place, so it's not going well in the league either. So I didn't have the motivation, because the way I got beaten in that Champions League final is that was good. Anyway, just in case you haven't you've missed, because so I see Shelley has asked. So just to recap, Emily Cook has basically confirmed that RTD's return all came about because of the Doctor Who tweet alongs, which we said on this channel. Also, it's been confirmed that he actually has 4 specials written. The media and everybody else, including RTD himself, had said originally he had 3, but now that's 4. He's also written 6 episodes for Shooty's 4th season as well. We discussed that also confirmed, we put up an image. David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker's regeneration were done in 2 different locations, which adds to what I was saying here on the channel, that because we all seen it in the episode, it panned out, and it was originally supposed to fade to black, but because RTD returned, it obviously panned back in, and we got the shot. Well, we knew it was coming, but David Tennant then regenerated from Jodie Whittaker's doctor, and so yeah, a lot of revealing stuff has been revealed in the interview. I will be getting my hands on the magazine. It's just there's a little bit of a delay. The regeneration was filmed 7 months apart, so there you go. Again, I told everybody this, but I know you guys all believe me because you know I wouldn't put out stuff just for the sake of it. And I don't put out any stuff because as some have claimed, I had an agenda. But there you go, 7 months apart. So and look, the biggest red flag was when Chibs actually confirmed that he didn't know that Doctor Who was coming back. And I think that's why I've noticed these other people are very quiet now. They haven't said that when it's come to the stuff that I've been saying because they know now that I've been telling the truth all along. I would love to do zombies with you. Yeah, well, I still have Black Ops 3 there. So yeah, we'll set it up. We'll set it up at some stage. Don't worry about that. We'll organise that. Definitely. Because yeah, I'd like to play because what normally happens is you enter a server, and then as soon as one of the guys dies or something, they leave the game. So then sometimes I'm left on my own, killing 4 people's worth of zombies. And as the levels go on, you get more waves and waves and waves of zombies. So yeah. Yeah, it's definitely different. Definitely different. But the regeneration was filmed 7 months apart, so apparently it's confirmed in the magazine. So there you go. I mean, that's the news. So obviously, as the weekend continues into Monday, there'll be a lot of interesting articles from the Radio Times and all the other media outlets that will dissect this interview and will throw up and there will be Chib ones as well because apparently he had a few words to say as well, but nobody really gives a crap what he has to say because nobody is really talking about what Chibs had to say. We're all just interested in what RTD has to say. Chibs is gone now, so as far as I'm concerned, we don't need to listen to what he has to say. You know what I mean? He made a mistake with the show. He's just better off moving on now. Actually, I'd prefer he didn't talk about Doctor Who at all now and just disappeared for a while somewhere and then did something else. Just bye-bye. See you later. See you later. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So, again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and all of that. And we will see you over the weekend. Have a good one, folks. Bye.